At present, the United States is contemplating the adoption of stricter regulations regarding the exportation of artificial intelligence, AI, chips to China. The recent implementation of updated regulations in October has the potential to affect semiconductor manufacturers Nvidia and AMD. In its ongoing endeavor to hinder China's procurement of technology with military applications, the Biden administration is presently contemplating the adoption of supplementary export regulations that specifically target chips utilized in the realm of artificial intelligence. This calculated maneuver seeks to erect additional obstacles that impede China's ability to obtain these highly sophisticated technological elements. Three sources with knowledge of the situation have indicated that the recent modifications to the comprehensive export controls of the U.S. Commerce Department, originally enacted in October, could present obstacles for companies such as Nvidia and Advanced Micro Devices as they endeavor to market advanced semiconductor chips to China. The decision would have a significant effect on Nvidia. To address the controls that were put in place on October 7th, the company created alternative chips for their graphics processing units. These new chips, known as the A800 and H800, were developed to replace the more advanced chips that were now restricted due to the new regulations. During a recent interview with the Financial Times, Jensen Huang, the CEO of Nvidia, conveyed apprehension regarding the possible adverse effects of existing export regulations on the technology sector in the United States. He underscored the substantial damage that these restrictions could cause, drawing a parallel between the situation and being rendered powerless. These controls effectively impede Nvidia's capacity to distribute its state-of-the-art chips to China, thus constraining the company's potential for growth in the market. Although the A800 and H800 chips may not possess the same level of speed as their previous iterations, they continue to serve as the fundamental technology propelling research and development in the realm of artificial intelligence for China's foremost technology enterprises. Based on information provided by two sources familiar with the situation, it has been reported that Chinese companies, including Tencent, Alibaba, Baidu, ByteDance, and others, procured additional Nvidia chips in response to the surge in the generative AI trend in China this year. In the event that the United States government were to enforce more rigorous export regulations targeting A800 and H800 chips, Nvidia's CFO, Colette Kress, assured that the company would not face any immediate substantial repercussions. Nonetheless, she did recognize that this measure would ultimately affect the company in due course. Kress argues that implementing restrictions on the export of data center GPUs to China would have enduring repercussions. These repercussions would materialize as a lasting hindrance to the ability of the US industry to compete and establish itself as a prominent player in one of the world's largest markets. Consequently, this would exert a substantial impact on our future business ventures and financial performance in that particular region. As per her declaration, China has historically constituted a substantial proportion, more precisely 25% of Nvidia's profits generated from the sale of products linked to data centers. President Joe Biden's recent enactment of more rigorous export regulations demonstrates his continued dedication to hindering China's ability to acquire state-of-the-art technologies. These regulations specifically focus on impeding the acquisition of artificial intelligence, AI, chips, which have diverse uses that span from the enhancement of hypersonic weaponry to the simulation of nuclear weapons research and development. In a March report by the FT, it was revealed that Chinese companies, including those involved in AI surveillance that have been blacklisted by the US, have been actively exploring ways to circumvent export controls. Among the tactics employed is the practice of renting access to A100 chips. The Biden administration's strategy, as described by National Security Advisor Jake Sullivan, entails the creation of a high fence around a specific set of vital technologies, including artificial intelligence, AI. The objective is to prevent the Chinese military from leveraging American technology in a way that jeopardizes US security interests. Paul Triolo, a specialist in Chinese technology at the Albright Stonebridge Consultancy, asserts that the revision of regulations on October 7th has cast doubt on the validity of the belief that the consequences would be contained, as metaphorically depicted by the phrase "small yard, high fence." Triolo contends that the consequences will extend much further and will continue to expand considerably in the coming years. Accusing the United States of actively hindering its progress and authority, China has taken action in what is widely seen as a retaliatory move. In May, China imposed a ban that prevented its infrastructure operators from acquiring chips from Micron, an Idaho-based semiconductor manufacturer. Furthermore, President Biden is currently taking steps to put in place an executive order that would establish a comprehensive framework for assessing investments directed towards China. The primary objective of this undertaking is to reduce the risk of American investors unknowingly supporting the financing of the Chinese military. In recent months, there has been a notable emphasis from both the United States and the European Union on their intentions to partake in a targeted sector approach known as de-risking, as opposed to adopting a broader strategy of decoupling. Nevertheless, Chinese Premier Li Qiang has voiced his disapproval of this approach, asserting that any attempt to mitigate risk associated with China is inherently flawed. There is an expectation that export regulations will undergo a revision at some point in the summer. This revision will align with the continuous endeavors of the United States and China to mend the fractures in their relationship, which has deteriorated to its lowest point since diplomatic ties were established in 1979. During the previous week, Antony Blinken, the Secretary of State for the United States, embarked on a journey to China. While there, he conducted several meetings with key figures, including President Xi Jinping, Qin Gang, the Foreign Minister of China, and Wang Yi, the country's leading diplomat. Both Xi and Blinken described the visit as a fruitful exchange. Regrettably, the initial efforts to lay the groundwork for their relationship faced an immediate hurdle. This setback arose when President Biden, in spontaneous remarks at a presidential campaign fundraising event, referred to Xi as a dictator. Both the US Department of Commerce and Nvidia have chosen not to make any statements regarding the expected modification of export regulations. The initial report regarding this update was published by the Wall Street Journal. To support our channel's growth and ensure broader awareness, kindly hit the like and subscribe buttons. This will help us reach more individuals and disseminate valuable information. Thank you in advance.